He's CBS Sports' Doug Gottlieb, who is back on the program. Busy weekend, and Dougie Fresh. You're taking some bullets there broadside with some of the Syracuse comments. How you hanging?
I'm good. What comments specifically? That they didn't belong in the tournament?
Well, no. People were just critical that I think you said they hadn't beaten anybody. And, you know, they beat Virginia, whether they deserved to be in or the teams they beat prior to. But after beating Virginia, right. It looked like you doubled down, and then people started to fire away on social media.
No. It's inaccurate. No, what happens is you got a fan base that thinks I got something in for them because I'm the only one that has been kind of straight down the middle fair and pointed out when they're good, and when they're not, they're not. And, yeah, look, their resume was the resume. It wasn't my fault they were 3-8 in the road, lost 5 of their last 6, lost the worst St. John's team maybe ever. And they got a stay of execution and got to play in the NCAA tournament, beat a Dayton team, which, by the way, after saying they didn't belong in the tournament because of matchups, they won the game, and I thought they would, and I picked them on Selection Sunday. They benefited from Michigan State spitting up on themselves and losing the middle, and then won 2 more games. And what they did to come back from that, I mean, look, Gonzaga and Virginia, massive choke jobs, but the fact that Syracuse was able to engineer both comebacks is fantastic stuff. So I don't want it to take away from the kids and the team. The kids and the team found a way to win games that they probably shouldn't have and couldn't have in any other. But that's what makes the tournament great. It makes it a terrible way to select who the champion is, who your best team is, but it makes the tournament great because from the VCU, who probably shouldn't have been in, George Mason shouldn't have been in the tournament the year they went on a run, to a Syracuse. You get an opportunity, the bracket opens up for you, and then you get a chance to take on, in this case, a conference foe who you had seen, who you hadn't beaten, and you come from 16 down the second half. That's the epitome of March Madness. So people want to take shots, that's fine, but that's really the problem with people is that they can't appreciate the run because most of the same people actually agreed with me. Even Syracuse fans like, we don't belong in. Had 3 chances to beat Pittsburgh, couldn't beat them once. So they go from hating their own team to finding somebody else to hate. That's just the problem with people, not the problem with my commentary.
Well, I think when the reaction you had on Selection Sunday when Syracuse got in, that you were surprised. And look, I'm right there with you. I didn't think Syracuse deserved to be in. And I think what happens is people want to dislike somebody instead of liking somebody. They should be thrilled that they're going to the Final Four. Instead, they want you to say, all right, you got me. They're a great team or they deserve to be here. They've played extremely well. They didn't play well during the last month of the season. Coach suspended. It's an odd year. But they have talent, and you got a great coach. And it played out for them. So I understand.
I would say this. I would say this. I don't think they played well against Gonzaga until the last 5 minutes. I don't think they played particularly well for the most of yesterday's game until maybe they went on that run, and then they played exceptionally well with great confidence. I've been critical of Boeheim before because I don't like teams that sit in a zone when they have the talent to press as they showed last night. I'll tell you this: he badly outcoached Tony Bennett, who I think is a fantastic coach, but Tony Bennett froze. They had no plan B. They ran the exact same zone offense in the first half. They ran the second half. And what Syracuse does is, this is the genius of Boeheim. They don't get the kids all wrapped up in prep and scouting reports. They don't do shoot-arounds. They just go out, hey, shooter, non-shooter, let's just go out and play. And then at halftime, they try and figure out what you're doing, and they adjust to it. And Virginia didn't adjust to the adjustment. They just didn't. And then, look, Syracuse is a feast or famine, high 3-point attempt team. They started hitting some shots, and Virginia got super, super, super tight. Tony couldn't change the momentum. Didn't call enough timeouts, any timeouts during the big run, and it was an incredible comeback. But if you want to make the argument that because they won some games in the NCAA tournament, it shows they belong in. Well, does that mean every time that they lose in the first round or every team that loses in the first round didn't belong in? That argument that's a straw man argument. It just is. So I have the utmost respect for a team that probably shouldn't have won the past 2 games and found a way, and that's what makes the tournament great. but please don't think it's because somehow I was wrong about my assertion based upon resume and how we judge whether teams should be in or shouldn't be in. That argument is separate unto itself.
I got Coach Boeheim on later today. If you'd like to leave like a message for him here.
I've texted him. I texted him congratulations.
Oh, okay.
He's.
Did he text you back?
Yeah, always. But usually very sarcastic. The great thing about Boeheim, and you know this, is he is a great trash talker. Like one of the there's no question he'll come on and he'll talk some trash, right?
Yeah.
The bad thing about Boeheim, he doesn't take it all that well now. He doesn't take a chop busting all that well. So, but I do think that his kids fighting through, and they were just completely manhandled by that Virginia defense, fighting through and finding a way. That's about as crazy. I don't know anyone who was watching that game that thought Syracuse was going to win it early on the second half.
No.
Did you?
No, it was when they didn't adjust to the tempo. That Syracuse forced Virginia to play a tempo that they weren't comfortable with, and then instead of milking the clock which is what Virginia can do, they went for baskets. And then when they started to miss, and then all of a sudden, Richardson hits a couple of shots, and then you can just feel it, like it's tangible, it's in the air. Now it's changed.
I'll give you one thing. I kind of disagree. One, you're right in that they couldn't adjust the tempo, but like their press break, for example, you put a center all the way underneath the basket on a 2-on-1 break. That's a really hard finish for guys. But yes, Virginia's inability to play when they got sped up, and there's a coaching adage which I don't think is accurate, which is it's easier to slow a game down than it is to speed it up. I thought Syracuse found the perfect time to speed it up. I mean,
they had to. They had no other choice. You couldn't stay in a zone and let Virginia milk the shot clock.
No. I understand. I'm saying that they spent. We're ships crossing in the night. We agree.
Oh, okay.
I think it's amazing that Virginia, for as good as they are and as good as they've been, that they got sped up and couldn't. They just didn't finish easy transition shots. But the bigger part was, they never moved London Parentes and ran him corner to corner when he, hit 5 threes. They never changed their zone attack. And it took Malcolm Brogdon completely out of the game, but that he became a facilitator and he was out of rhythm. So, that was as stunning a turnaround from the first half to the second half of the game as I've seen. But that's what makes our sport, my sport, so incredible, is that in one game, even within the context of one game, there can be two completely different halves.
I'm talking to Doug Gottlieb from CBS Sports. I can imagine like Boeheim's emoji is him with in his hand holding his face, like just down there, as he always does at his press conferences. A couple other things here. Buddy Hield, kind of moving into that Leitner, Danny Manning, Bo Kimball, Steph Curry, as far as scoring.
Yes.
Belong in that category here with this tournament run?
Yes, no question.
Best player in the tournament?
I want to stop and think. I mean, Bryce Johnson's pretty good last night.
Is he better than Buddy Hield?
He's a better all-around basketball player, I think.
Okay.
I don't know, Buddy Hield, the threat and the fear of Buddy Hield, it changes the entire complex of a game. I mean, it just does. Your head is on a swivel. He has, NBA guys say he has gravity. Like, not only do you not think he can leave him, but you think even sometimes when you don't leave him, he'll make shots. Like when Kobe's showing up to your games like fanboy, I don't know, that the dude's, the best part about it is, like, look, I'm an Oklahoma State guy. I'm not supposed to but no one between him and his head coach, Ron Kruger, this is like the most likable assassin. Like, no one liked Leitner. You covered it. You remember. Nobody liked him. Most of these guys, Bo Kimball, I was at those games when they played Long Beach at the Long Beach Arena. People loved Bo, but they also loved the story because Hank had died. His best friend had died. This is just a kid from the Bahamas who just made himself into the most incredible college shooter that we've seen. And now let's see how he shoots in this dome, because if you look at the numbers in Houston last year, nobody shot well. But man, what a great story!
Before I let you go, a week from today, who are we talking about?
North Carolina.
North Carolina will win the title next Monday night.
Yeah. I will say this. Look, I've been a doubter of Villanova in terms of their top end talent, and their win Saturday night kind of gets lost because of the Syracuse comeback. And that team has as good of a chemistry as any basketball team I've ever been around. because I think talent-wise they're very average. But I think North Carolina is the class of this group, and I think they win another national title.
Did Boeheim text you shorts on backwards?
No, because he didn't know. Only Roy Williams knows that I had my shorts on backwards and we lost to KU. But Roy also fails to point out that we beat them by 33 points and 19 points the following season. He has that selective amnesia, which is okay.
Okay,
But I did have
here's one for you. I'll leave you with this one.
Yes.
Does Roy Williams retire if North Carolina wins the title?
I don't know, but I will. If you during your next break have Fritzy pull up the article from the Washington Post over the weekend, in which basically it says everything I said on CBS, which is his knees are a mess. His best friend died. The NCAA thing has taken years off of his life, right? And here's the guy that had incredible passion for recruiting and for his school that just seems worn down by it. My point then is my point now. No one in basketball would be surprised if at some point after winning a title he walked away. And the other point was simply that Carolina, he does everything that Dean Smith did, right? Which is he's not just going to retire after the season. When he retires, he'll handpick his successor, and then he'll wait until the season probably, and then make sure that guy gets the job. So that was my point then. It would not surprise me. But look, if he wants to keep coaching, go for it. But I think there is something more in his life, and what more can you accomplish at North Carolina than 3 national titles and bringing a program kind of full circle back to where it was when Dean Smith was there.
I'll see you in Houston.
See you in Houston.
Thanks, Doug. That's Doug Gottlieb.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.